Okay, I believe we are live if I click on the button correctly. Welcome to Hoot live stream today. Service mesh and eBPF. These are super hot topics, right? Are they competing with each other, or are they complementary to each other? Can you actually add eBPF support to Istio without changing Istio at all? So in this Hoot live stream, we're going to explain all this to you with the Merbridge team. We want you to learn Istio, Envoy, Kubernetes, eBPF, and GraphQL technologies so you can be very well prepared at your job, be the best cloud native, whether you are a developer or operator or the platform engineer. So I am your host for the Hoot live stream today. I am so excited to welcome our speakers from the DaoCloud team here today. So we have Xiaopeng and Kebe from the DaoCloud team. Xiaopeng, can you go ahead introduce yourself?
I'm a software engineer at DaoCloud, and currently I'm working on our product, which is based on Istio, and I'm also the Istio user experience working group maintainer. That's it.
That's awesome. I didn't know you become a user experience working group maintainer too. I actually founded that user group while I was at IBM. So congratulations. Kebe, are you online to say something about yourself? I know you have a network issue earlier. Okay, if not, we'll get to you when you fix your network. So let's talk about the news first. Let me bring up the stream I have. So just so everyone knows, last week we had a live stream about the Istio in Action book, right? So we actually published the step for the book. Yay! So if you're interested to explore how to tune Istio control plane performance, using the steps provided by Reno and Christian from the book, go ahead and follow the steps, and you'll be able to see how to tune pilot with the push time and all that. How to use discovery selector, how to use the sidecar resource. So definitely check this out if you're interested in the steps from our previous episode. We also have a episode scheduled for next week on how to increase application resilience for Kubernetes services running on Spot VM. So join us next week. We're not going to have a Hoot on April 12th, and because I'm on vacation, and we also have another Hoot scheduled for the 24th. So stay tuned. The next news I want to share is Frank from IBM team, who is my former coworker, published a blog on Istio.io on how to configure Istio cuddle for a remote cluster. If you're using external control plane, which I co-develop and lead at IBM while I was at IBM, so if you're using that today in your production environment or in your test dev environment, you can install this ecosystem project called Istio Cuddle Proxy in the Istio ecosystem repository to configure your Istio Cuddle to work with your external control plane so that you can run Istio Cuddle proxy status command while it talks to Istio D on the external control plane. So check that out. Also, thanks to my coworker Will, and who brought up to me this interesting news about 89% of organizations says Kubernetes ransomware is a problem today. So check it out. In fact, only 33% of those deployed Kubernetes have protection in place to help mitigate data loss. So this is a lot of work, a lot of help needed in this area for sure. I also want to give a shout out to our friends at Spectral Cloud. So congratulations to them who are providing a solution of Kubernetes everywhere, help our user to run Kubernetes regardless which cloud you are or on-premise, and they just secure their Series B funding. That's all the news. By the way, a little bit news about IstioCon and Service MeshCon. The speakers are out. The schedule is going to come out of IstioCon really soon. So I'm so excited about the lineup of the speakers and the agenda. So congratulations to all of our speakers for IstioCon and Service MeshCon. With that, we are going to dive into DaoCloud. So DaoCloud actually gained a steering seat. Kebe is actually representing DaoCloud on the steering seat. So huge congratulations to the DaoCloud team. My first question for people who are not familiar with DaoCloud is, what is DaoCloud?
Okay, I'm going to answer this question. And in my opinion, DaoCloud is a relative new company founded at the end of 2014. And our company is focused to create an open cloud operating system which enables enterprises to carry out digital transformation. And our products cover the full life cycle of development, delivery, operation, and also DevOps of the cloud native applications.
That's awesome. So why Istio for DaoCloud? I've noticed you guys, started to contribute a lot, right? You become a maintainer, and you guys are the third largest contributor to Istio in terms of merged PR. So that's significant because I guess many of us haven't heard about DaoCloud before. So can you explain why Istio for DaoCloud?
So, I think as I mentioned, our company is focused to help customers to perform the digital service architecture transformation. And as the point, we think that Istio is really a good project to build a scalable in production microservice system. And as you said, we do really love the open source, and we are trying to contribute with what we have to the community, like this Merbridge eBPF technology to promote the development of the new technologies in community in the Istio project.
Yeah, we certainly really appreciate you guys' contribution. We've seen a big increase of contribution in the China region. So shout out to all of our contributors in China. What triggered you to start the Merbridge project?
Actually, I think there are maybe several reasons. The first one should be that eBPF's popularity and community acceptance. I think for now, eBPF becomes a really hot trending topic, and a lot of companies have tried or would like to try eBPF and make it work in different kinds of areas. And I think our community also has some voices about eBPF to be implemented in the mesh scenario. And the next reason should be we think eBPF provides a really new perspective on reducing the network latency. since this is also a long-standing issue for the sidecar mode. And for the next reason, I think currently there is no open source solution that can be directly used in the community for this eBPF technology. And I've heard that some of the companies have already implemented this eBPF in the mesh, but I think they are only for internal use. And and also the last reason, which I was mentioned before, like our company has had technology accumulation for some years in the service mesh field, and we would like to provide our technology and to promote the development of this new technology in the community.
That's great. I'm really excited that you guys are doing this because I know, I think it was 3 years ago, Cilium published a blog
Yep.
regarding, right, how to use eBPF, specifically using Cilium to shortcut the network
Yep.
connectivities. But it was kind of like something side to the Istio project, right? Because it's not easy for Istio user to endorse, and it's not something, published on the Istio.io as like a community thing. So I'm so excited you guys actually published this blog and make it available to the Istio user. So with that, we're going to dive into a little bit more about the Merbridge project. So in case you guys haven't read, so Kebe and Xiaopeng from DaoCloud actually wrote a blog regarding Merbridge, how to use Merbridge to accelerate the service mesh by replacing the IP table rules. So let's dive into that. So let's see. First question I have, I guess, is regarding Merbridge. So what triggered you guys start with the Merbridge project?
So, excuse me?
Sorry, I guess I want to ask how Merbridge works without modifying Istio.
Oh, okay.
Because I actually read the blog a few
Yep.
times. What puzzles me really is how Merbridge actually works without modified Istio. Because a few years ago, when Cilium project published their thing, I believe they had to make some changes to Istio regarding the sidecar injection, the init container. So what puzzles me the most about Merbridge is how Merbridge works, without modified Istio, and also what is the role of the init container in the context of when Istio works with Merbridge.
I think for the first question, it actually can be split into two parts, and the first part should be to shorten the data path between data planes, sidecars, and also applications, and allow packets to be transported directly from one socket to another. And this means that the socket does not need to go through the several network stacks and reach to the destination socket. For example, like the TCP/IP protocol, the IP tables, and the Ethernet, and etc. And with this part of works, actually, we've already finished the acceleration part. But how can we like run the Merbridge in the mesh scenario? And for this question, the next part should be to simulate and replace what iptables does to the mesh. Like for the Istio project, actually the IP tables is initialized to intercept traffic and redirect to the envoy or the app. And here, each of the iptables functions will be replaced with new eBPF logic in order to make Merbridge function well in the mesh scenario. So like the iptables redirecting will be replaced with the eBPF logic. And also for the second question, what is the role of the init container? And here is the thing. We cannot actually bootstrap using the host network mode because our Merbridge project should be run in the daemon set deployment. And
Mhm.
since using this kind of mode will result in Merbridge will result in Merbridge not doing anything with the iptables or eBPF at all because we cannot reach out to the cluster IP service from a host network pod. So we use the init container to obtain the IP address, and uh, using this thing will also like be more secure.
Okay, so it's the IP address of, I guess, the services pods in the mesh, but the pods
Mm-hmm,
are
mm-hmm.
not in the mesh because you don't want to have eBPF, the change you are making apply to every pods in Kubernetes, only the pods within the Istio mesh.
Sorry, I can't hear you very clearly.
Okay, I was trying to understand when you said that you want to track the IP tables, right? Are those the IP tables for pods running with the sidecar in the service mesh?
Uh-huh.
Okay, yeah, because in Kubernetes, there are pods outside of your mesh, right? There are
Yeah,
pods inside of your mesh. I assume you are specifically tracking what are the pods
yeah,
IP within the mesh that you want to do the modification to the pod network with eBPF.
yeah, we only like do the acceleration for the pods that are injected by the sidecar, like
Yeah.
in the mesh mode. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. So, let me clarify one thing with you. So basically, because you didn't make any modification to the Istio project as of right now,
Mm-hmm.
so the role of the init container still remains where the IP table would continue to be set up. But
Yeah.
maybe perhaps in the future, you are looking at disable that IP table setup with Merbridge because it's not needed, right? That IP table setup is unnecessary. It's just, it's there because you didn't make any change to Istio as of today.
Yeah. Currently, the Merbridge project is running with iptables in the compatible mode, and uh, right now it will not affect anything because I think currently it still do not have like has a great way to disable the iptables. But if you disable it manually, like do not start the init container or clean all the clean up all the iptables rules, then with Merbridge, it can still like function well for the requests.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay, I think so. How about the Istio CNI? A lot of our users are using Istio CNI, right?
Mhm.
How does that work with Merbridge? Do you see maybe Merbridge would replace Istio CNI because there's no need for setting up IP tables, which is what Istio CNI does?
Yep. I think Istio CNI is doing kind of similar thing, like it's initiate the IP tables and do the like the traffic redirection, but for the Merbridge, it will not use IP tables at all. So it does not need the Istio CNI, and we also plan to support Merbridge as a kind of like Istio CNI or something that maybe this is in the future plan.
That's interesting. Yeah, I guess I have Merbridge as part of another version of Istio CNI, right? Because it's kind of because Istio CNI is also a daemon set today.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we have a question from our user now. I assume you can see that too, Xiaopeng.
Oh, yeah.
So the question, hi, thanks for the question. I'm not going to try to pronounce your name. So is there any advantage for use Merbridge versus Istio with CNI Cilium?
I think Cilium is doing like a kind of general thing, and Merbridge is really simple use in the mesh scenario because you don't need to like do anything, and I think it's more like for the mesh thing.
Yeah, so this is an interesting question. So last year, I think I actually went through Cilium's website and I was trying to, do what Cilium published a blog 3 years ago, right? They use Cilium to kind of eliminate the need to configure IP tables, but I couldn't find the instruction to do that. I couldn't figure out how to do that to not needing IP table, just using Cilium CLI with Istio. So, I mean, if you get it working, do let me know because I haven't been able to get it working. Okay, let's moving on to thanks for that question. So if you guys have any further question, feel free to send to the chat. Let's see. I think we talk about how Merbridge workforce services in the mesh was not in the mesh by determining the pod IP, the sidecar, the IP from the init container. How do I know Merbridge is working? That's actually one thing I've heard people repetitively asking, right? Because especially with the IP table rules still in place, can you quickly tell us, what's the best way? Or if you have anything you want to share, feel free.
Mm-hmm. I think maybe like I'll do a demo later, and
Okay.
to quickly answer this question, I think there are like several parts to know to see if it is working. The first is to use the BPF2 command, like use BPF to map or BPF2 prog, and some kind of these tools to see that if the BPF functions are working in the kernel. And also the next step is that actually Merbridge has a debug mode, and it will print all of the redirection logs to the kernel, and we can like check out the logs and to see if there are any traffic has been redirected. And next, we can like try to enter the specific pod program namespace and see the IP tables rules. With Merbridge enabled, we will see that the Istio redirect chain will not be increased. But without Merbridge, it will increase because traffic will be redirected through the IP tables. And also, if if we try to clean up all of the IP tables rules, and the request can be still finished and redirected because Merbridge is doing this thing. And I also like demo this later.
Okay, great. I think that's the key thing, right? It's flush that
Mhm.
IP table, right? Because a lot
Yeah.
of us have performance concerns with IP tables, especially with large amount of services, and the IP table keep growing. So yeah, that's
Mhm.
exciting to hear. Flush the IP tables. We can continue validate Merbridge,
Mhm.
continue working.
Mhm.
I think we should get to the demo now because then we can see what other folks have any other questions. Are you ready to kind of do the demo?
Yep.
Maybe you need to share your screen because I have your slides here. Um,
Okay.
Unless you want to bring something in your slides first.
Right now, I think I'll just like show the demo.
Okay.
So let me share my screen.
Okay, I see your screen comes up. I'm going to add to the stream.
So can you see the terminal?
Yes, I can. 2 terminals, I guess 3. Yep.
So right now I just have a clean kind cluster, and you can see that we have things in the kube system, and also we have ports like in the Istio system on the Istio D and the ingress gateway. And I'm going to apply the Merbridge. So we only need to apply this one YAML and apply our resources. And here it creates a daemon set.
Yeah, do you want to go through like the service account, the role and role binding really quickly? Just to explain people, yeah, what does those things do?
So do you mean like close other terminals?
No. I was just thinking because besides the daemon set, you also installed cluster role binding, and service account, right? Do you want to explain those quickly for the audience?
So I think we just need like the pod watch role, because we need to watch that which pods are currently in the node, because we need this information to determine if we need to redirect the traffic, because if the service may in another node, then we cannot redirect because we do not have this information in the kernel, like for eBPF. So we need the watch permission for the pod in order to collect all the injected pod info.
Yeah, that makes sense. So that goes back to what we discussed earlier to determine whether your pod is running in the service mesh. Thank you.
So here we have the daemon set in the Istio system, and we may turn on the debug mode, like I think it's in the parts. Yeah, it's here. Then we are going to add a -d. So turn on the debug mode, and we're gonna so it is running, and here we need to start to show the log. Currently, we don't need to look at this, and then we don't actually right now we do not have any services yet, and we're gonna apply the classic sleep service and also hello world.
Are you using automatically sidecar injection?
I'll turn it on. Okay, and label
Namespace, label namespace default.
Yeah.
I love live demo. This is what happens in live demo.
Yeah. So let's delete this thing and wait them to start. And we're gonna first see that the thing I mentioned, like the BPF2 map, then we're gonna see some map, and here maybe this one, the C group tree, and here we're gonna see that the Merbridge eBPF hooks is already have here, and still initialize. And, maybe wait a second. I think
Do you have to modify the hello world image?
I think we need to like use a proxy. Maybe it reached the limit of the Docker image pooling.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah. This is only for this machine. And also,
Yeah, makes sense.
yeah. So here also this one. And I think I know it should be okay. And we're gonna first grab the process ID of the sleep. And here, this one, we're gonna do add enter. And maybe sudo. And we are currently in this namespace, and we can check out all the iptables rules. Here we have the Istio rules like the redirect chain. And here you can like record this one is 0. And here I think all of the things are ready. And
Yeah.
I'll just do sleep. You can see here eBPF has a debug information like redirect. Maybe do another one. Like each time it will show the redirect log here. And also when I try to look at the IP tables again, this Istio redirect chain will not did not increase. And here I'll do a thing to flush all the IP tables rules. Temporarily save it to the tempx, and I'll just clean up all the IP tables rules. And see, currently we do not have any rules, right? Here we do not have any rules anymore. Then we're gonna do execute this again. You can see like we can still get the response from the upstream. but we do not actually have rules from the sleep namespace IP tables. And this means the Merbridge is working and it is replacing the IP tables rules. And if we set it back, IP tables restore, and look at it again, then we have the IP tables rules again. And we do this curl again, and it is still working. So it is running in the compatible mode.
So when you say compatible, that's with the IP table rules set up by the init container along with Merbridge. So
Yep.
they coexist. Okay. Can you explain on the right side, you have two terminals. I think you were typing command very fast. Can you explain the first terminal on the top side, the cat command? Which log are you trying to show? I assume it's some eBPF system log. Okay, so
So
it's the debug
this
trace.
one,
Yeah.
yep,
Okay.
yep. And
On
it
the
has,
and that's on one of your Kubernetes node, I assume. This
excuse me?
particular VM. So this particular VM, I assume is one of your Kubernetes worker VM. Is that right?
Uh, Sorry, I can't hear you. Can you like repeat it again?
Okay. Which VM is this? Virtual machine is this?
Oh, okay. So this one is like kernel version has 1.15. So I think Merbridge should be run with kernel version higher than 1.7.
Okay, got
That
you.
should be fine. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So when you so the terminal below this one, is that in your, I assume it's a virtual machine related to your Kubernetes cluster?
Uh,
So
uh,
the IP table rules you are trying to flush,
uh-huh.
which virtual
Also,
machine is that? Yeah.
I'm trying to like here. I'm doing the PS dash EF to grip the process of the sleep service.
Oh, got you. Okay.
Yep. And I'm entering the sleep service
Okay. Yep.
namespace, like doing the ns enter,
Got
and
you. Yeah.
I'm in the sleep namespace, so I can flush all the IP tables rules in this namespace.
Okay.
And
Yeah, that's what I missed. Yeah.
uh-huh.
Okay, very cool. Anything else you want to show from Merbridge?
I think this is the simple demo. Maybe we continue to the rest of part.
Yeah, that sounds great. Yeah, thank you so much for this demo. So let's
Uh,
actually talk about challenges. So when you build Merbridge, are you
mhm.
open to share some of the challenges you encountered?
All right. So, can you like open up the slides and go to maybe the slide 10,
10,
like some
okay.
approaches. Yep, I think. Yeah, maybe here. Maybe the one like this one. So, uh, actually, I think I have like several challenges, and I may only like explain one or two of them. And for this one, um, this challenge is like how to find the original destination. The problem is when I try to make a request to the service, Istio will redirect the traffic to the proxy inbound by applying the IP tables rules. And in the eBPF scenario, the source and the destination information are stored in the sock hash map, and the sidecar will see the information with the source IP address, source port, and the invoice address and the invoice inbound which will be the loopback address and also the inbound port. I think it should be 1506. And actually, it still requires the destination address to be determined uh, to I think it still requires the destination address to determine which service it will send requests to. And iptables actually use two functions that help the redirection. It will use the set sock function to save the original destination to the sock hash map and later retrieve it by calling the get sock option function. But actually, uh, I think I may recall it in the next slides. Yep, here. Can you see this one?
Yes, slides 10.
Yep. So for this one, actually the get sock option and the set sock option function belongs to the net filter module, and eBPF does not have it. So actually the original destination will be missed, and I think the next slide comes with the solution. Yep. Here is our solution. Like uh uh, we try to intercept the get sock option function and just directly rewrite the original destination to the actual real original destination recorded by us, and this problem is gonna solve resolved. So here is also the code, like if we have the origin information, then we're gonna send it to the socket. Yep, and here's one of the challenges. And I'm going to talk about one more. Maybe, yeah, this is the quadruple conflicts, and we solve it by using the dynamic IP allocation. And maybe this one, like this one is more interesting, like the same node acceleration. So here, iptables has a set of rules to redirect traffic, but for eBPF, how do we know when to redirect the traffic? Like for example, if the destination is not in the current node, and if we try to initiate a connection, if we try to initiate a connection and redirect it to the envoy outbound, uh, in so uh, let me organize. Like if we try to initiate a connection and redirect it to the envoy outbound port, the original destination information will not be known because it's not saved in the current node. And also, if the sidecar is trying to access the current node, the redirection should be disabled to prevent the recursive calls. And I think the next slide, we have some thoughts and solutions. To solve this challenge, first we will add a small control plan to watch all the ports that we have in the current node, and then we will know if we need to do the redirection or not. And then we design a kind of like a feedback mechanism to make a relation between the current process and its IP address. For the first time the sidecar do the request, it will have a try, and if the source IP and the destination IP are the same, and it means it's the current context IP address, and we will record this information for the future use. And when the service start to do the second request, it will not have this issue anymore. So I think these are like two challenges we've faced. and we want to share.
That's really interesting. So the same node acceleration, I know you published the performance number with Merbridge.
Mm-hmm.
I assume same node acceleration is actually going to be performing pretty well. So the numbers you publish on Istio.io, are they like mixed node or same node?
Actually, they are for the same node acceleration,
Okay.
and the cross node mode is still like in our roadmap.
Okay,
Maybe we're
got
gonna
you.
do it like with the XDP framework, like the Express Datapath framework. Yeah, it's in roadmap.
Okay. And that's the roadmap as far as implementation or as far as the performance benchmark or both?
Like the implementation for the cross mode. Yep.
Okay, got you. That makes sense. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
let's see. I think that might. So I guess I have one more question. If you could modify Istio, like if you could modify Istio to disable setting up the IP table rules, or if you kind of provide an alternative CNI to the current Istio CNI, do you think
Mm-hmm.
performance would be better in those cases without the kind of the time to set up the IP table, also without the time to kind of having keep growing IP tables?
Um, I think modifying Istio will not really have a great impact to our project since I think the Istio CNI or the init container or doing kind of like the similar things, like the IP table things, and we are actually not using IP tables, so it will not really have a great impact. But one thing is like maybe modifying the Envoy and improve its performance will be helpful. Yeah.
Okay. Well, what particular area of modify Envoy in this case? You mean maybe you eliminate the need of the init container at all?
Uh, Actually, I'm not sure about this one since I'm not the
Okay.
Envoy expert. Yeah, but I think it may be helpful.
Okay. We also have another question from Wojciech. He shared with me on LinkedIn earlier. So he certainly, tried Merbridge. He explored Merbridge and been testing it. So he wants to ask, is Merbridge ready for production from your perspective? Or, what's your guidance on that?
Actually, right now I think it's not production ready yet. But actually, we encourage folks like to try it and provide us with feedbacks since I think it's really like a easy to use project. Or if someone who is interested in the project, please make some contributions.
Yeah, that makes sense. And I would imagine maybe the mixed node acceleration may be important for folks running in production too. So
Yep,
yeah.
yep, yep.
Okay, so if folks are interested in looking for the Merbridge, where would they reach out to you guys?
Oh, okay. So I'll give you a like two pages. The first one is the Merbridge official project website. Page is the GitHub address, and also the other one is Merbridge right now has a Slack channel, and
Okay,
this is the invitation.
I'll bring it out for you. I think it's at the end of this blog.
Yep, I think there is one.
Yeah, so if you go to the blog on Istio.io, so this is the Merbridge GitHub,
Mm-hmm.
and I guess you guys don't have the Slack in there, so maybe share the Slack in the chat.
Uh-huh. Uh, can you like see the to the one in our chat.
Yeah, we can send that to the chat. Yeah, maybe in the show notes too. Yeah, so, well, I guess this has been a really interesting learning experience for me to learn Merbridge and also to learn a little bit about how to integrate eBPF with a service mesh like Istio. So I want to take a minute to thank you, Xiaopeng, and also Kirby. I know you've been silent and point out, hey, Xiaopeng, you need to add a namespace. So thank you guys, because this is almost midnight your time. So we really, really appreciate you guys pulling time, effort, and stand up at night of your time to do this hoot with us. So folks, please check out the Merbridge project, give the feedback, engage with the DaoCloud team. And if you guys find this interesting, feel free to share in the comments and the chat, and also hit the like button and subscribe to our future channel. Subscribe to our channel so you don't miss any of our future episodes. And if you have any topics you want us to discuss related to application network, let us know. See you guys next Tuesday. Thank you so much for watching. Bye now.
Thanks for watching.